The way you structure VC funding for your Web3 project will have a huge impact on founders, on the contributors, and on the community. So you really want to get this right. Pro tip, the best deal is one where investors get a pro rata percentage of the insider token allocation. Does that sound confusing? I'll walk you through exactly what that means, as well as key decisions that you need to make as you're negotiating with Web3 VCs. But first, while I've helped Web3 founders raise millions of dollars, each case is different. This video is not legal advice. If you're looking to raise venture capital, you should definitely be working with competent startup legal counsel. If you don't have any, feel free to reach out to us at westaway.com. Now let's dig into how Web3 startup funding works. In 2017, there was a huge boom in initial coin offerings, or ICOs. These crypto projects would pre-sell a token and then promise to bring a product to market. The problem was most of those projects were not able to deliver, and the value of that token went to zero. So Web3 investors and Web3 founders have learned lessons from the ICO boom and are creating companies differently now. The modern Web3 company seeks to build a product, validate it with its community, then issue a token. So in many cases, that means that a modern Web3 company is raising a pre-seed, seed, or maybe even a Series A before they're issuing a token. Given all that, how do we actually structure these Web3 funding deals? The answer is equity plus tokens. Equity in this context means either a safe or a direct equity investment. And you should keep this as simple as possible. Don't try to do anything exotic or weird. You'll either use the standard YC safe, the Series C documents, or the NVCA Series A documents. If you want to learn more about any of those, feel free to check out my videos on safes, Series C, and Series A funding. Now let's talk about tokens. Tokens in this context are rights to the future issuance of tokens. It's likely that you have not done all your tokenomics work, and so you don't know exactly how many tokens you're going to issue, and you also don't know how that's going to be divided up amongst contributors. And yet it's still incumbent upon you as a founder to figure out how to strike a deal that works well for founders, contributors, community, and for the investors. How do you do that? It all boils down to how you negotiate the terms of the token contract. You'll give investors rights to tokens through one of two contracts, either a token warrant or a token side letter. Generally speaking, the token side letter is a little bit shorter and less procedural. The token warrant tends to be a little bit longer and a little bit more procedural. Frankly, whether you choose one or the other is pretty irrelevant as long as the substance of the agreement is good. And what you want to focus on substantively in those documents is the token pool and the token percentage. These will be the most hotly negotiated issues. They will have the biggest impact on ROI and how the community is governed. First, let's discuss the token pool. You can think of the token pool as the total size of the pie that's going to be sliced up between founders, contributors, and investors. And there are two ways to define the total token pool. One is the total supply, and the other is the insider allocation. The total supply, as the name would imply, is the total number of tokens that is issued by the company. The insider allocation is the amount reserved for insiders. In this case, that would be founders, contributors, and investors. Let's say, for example, your company is issuing 100 million total tokens and 30% are reserved for founders, contributors, and investors. In that case, the total supply would be 100 million and 30 million would be the insider allocation. If you base the deal on total supply, it's more investor friendly. It leads to a higher number of whales and more influence by the investors in the community. However, if you base the deal on insider allocation, it's more community friendly and more founder friendly. It creates less whales, it aligns incentives for founders and for investors, and it allows for better community governance. The next key term is token percentage. The token percentage can be thought of as the slice of the pie that the investors are getting, and this can either be a fixed percentage or a pro rata percentage. The fixed percentage is just a fixed percent of the token pool, and the pro rata percentage is a pro rata percentage of the token pool based on their equity ownership. Fixed is more investor friendly, pro rata is more community friendly. Now, why does this matter? It's going to matter a lot if you raise more than one round. If an investor has a fixed percentage of, we'll say, 5%, what that means is in the subsequent round, the future investors plus all the insiders will be sharing only 95%, whereas the previous investor will stay at 5%. And then if you stack round upon round of that, the founders and early contributors slice of the pie gets smaller and smaller as you go. Now let's put all of these concepts together. The optimal structure for a Web3 funding round is one where there's equity plus tokens and the investor is getting a pro rata percentage of the insider allocation. Remember, if you want to understand equity financing, check out my other videos on safes, Series Seed, and Series A funding. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you want more startup legal tips.